Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tell Your Story. I'm your host, Todd Nesloni, and each week I look to bring you a different guest who has encouraged, inspired, or challenged me in one way or another and bring them on to share some of their story in hopes that it inspires you to tell some of yours. I am so excited this week to have my friend from India on with me, Shilpi. Shilpi, thank you for being here. Tell everybody who you are.
Yes, so my name is Shilpi Srivastava, and I am an ordinary girl with average potentials from a small city in Lucknow, which is based in India. And by profession, it's been like 15 years into education. And I started as a teacher, but today I'm like working as a relationship manager. And I have a small family, my parents and my brother, who is in England right now. He's working with a bank, an elder sister who's married, and both of them are like married, and they have one kid each. So that's my story. I mean, very simple. There's nothing much, but yes, I mean, I had my shares of up and down in life.
Right. Well, Shilpi, I'm so excited to talk to you today. And, whenever I have a guest on and we do these
Yeah.
conversations, I always start with the same first question. And that is, I feel like as kids, we always have these big dreams of what we're going to be when we grow up, but it doesn't always happen. So, looking at your career now, does it align at all with what you were dreaming as a kid that you would be?
Yes, it is. It is. I mean, it took 15 years to materialize what I have thought. And this is what I decided to talk about. You know, we I was questioning myself when I reached this position, and when I'm here where I wanted to be. That who decides failures?
Mm,
Who decides failures? Who says that you have failed? Because God created each one of us. God has given. I'm a twin, like I told you, so everybody has a thumbprint, but
mm,
my thumbprint is not same as my twin
right,
brothers. It cannot be. Everybody has a unique thumbprint. There are millions of people around the world, but can you say that somebody's thumbprint will be like mine? No.
right.
So the proves that God has made each one of us unique.
Hmm.
So then who is that somebody to decide that I have failed?
Right,
It's me.
right.
It's only me who can decide that I've failed. So I would like, in a very short, I would like to tell you, when I was a kid, I was in my mother's room. I was like my brother and me, and but I was the weaker one because my brother was like his position was above me. So I was not getting enough nutrition. That's what the doctors told my parents.
Ah,
And when I was born, I was immediately taken away from my mother, and I was kept in an incubator.
mhm,
And my brother was very healthy, right? So people thought that I'm not going to survive,
right.
right? And they didn't even come to see me. Relatives came to see my brother, and my father told me he used to make cotton, balls, small balls, dip them in the milk, and drop by drop give it in my mouth. So that is the way I survived for 1 month, and people were surprised. I was entirely blue in color. My entire face was red because not enough oxygen I was not able to get that. So from there, when I became at the age of 4, I, it's a trauma. I had never shared it with the world, but I would love to share. I lost
Yeah.
my mother. I
Mm,
lost my mother when I was 4, and then by the time I have a second mother, but she is the world's best mother because she never made me realize that.
right.
She came into my house because she told my father, "I am coming. I'm getting married to you because of this girl. I have fallen in love not with you but your daughter." So so because I pulled at her skirt, and I told her, "Will you become my mother?" When I saw her at the relative's place, and she immediately was like, "Who's this girl?" I mean, this is not the way people propose. So, and that is the way she came, and she became my mother. After that, I developed glaucoma in my left eye, and my left eye bulged out. You know how glaucoma is.
Mhm.
And my father then went for a surgery for me. It didn't work. And, year by year, because surgeries in those days were not very, very modernized and, not technologically advanced even.
Right.
So another surgery was done. And in my school, now this is where I'm coming to the main part of the story. I was a very confident person within myself.
Mhm.
I knew I am like good at dancing. I knew I'm good at acting, everything. But then, because I was not presentable because of that eye, that was bulging out. When the pressure in the eye increases in glaucoma, the eye starts bulging out. So it started bulging out, and I was very short in height and not little dark side, so I used to sit quietly in the class, but in my imagination I was everything that you could imagine. I mean, I used to imagine myself as a BBC newscaster. I used to think I was Madonna. Everything in my imagination. I fulfilled myself in my bathroom. I used to take hours to take shower. My father used to bang on the door. Are you dead inside? Are you asleep? Right. But there inside, in front of the mirror, I was everything that I wanted to be. One thing that I developed in myself, I don't know from where it came, nothing bogged me down. I used to sit in the corner of the class. My teachers never noticed me. And I was not very good at studies because half of the time I was imagining things.
Right, right.
I used to look at the butterfly outside, or I used to like I wanted to become a nun suddenly. So I was in an Irish convent school, so I used to see the nuns passing by. I used to feel this is the best attire in the world, and this is the best way to live. People respect you, and you're close to God. God listens to you directly. So these were all my ambitions that were coming to. And in my mind, I used to ridicule people, the children who were sitting on the first bench.
Right.
I used to ridicule them in my mind that, oh, you are just studying. You'll be either be a doctor, or you'll be an engineer, or you'll be in the bank, but I'm going to be something very different.
Right.
I will be so famous that you all will be nothing in front of me, and people will just talk to me. I don't know. I didn't even know why will I be famous. That's the tagline. I didn't
Right.
know why will I be famous. Whether I'll be an actress, whether I'll be a singer, newscaster. I just didn't know. Then I had an idea. You laugh at it, not. I was like, at that time, Bill Clinton had won the elections,
Mhm.
and he was one of the most handsome, presidents till now that I've seen. So I was talking to my father, and I said, Bill Clinton. So he said, he's the most powerful man in the world because he's the president of the US. So I'm confessing now, then I made my ambition, which was my only ambition in life, to marry the president of the US. I thought I'm going to become the first lady, and I'll be
Uh-huh.
famous in the world, and I'll be able to do everything that I want. I'll work for the poor, I'll make speeches, and then I'll show these first benchers that, how do you treat people?
Yep.
Because I'm going to work for the poorest of the poor. I'm going to do everything. I developed empathy. That is the
Uh,
first quality. And what I developed in myself was a faith in God, undeterring faith in God.
Right.
I don't know where this came into me. Every time I never told myself I'm a failure. When I literally passed in maths, my both my siblings had taken up science. They are like intellectuals. My father was a scientist. So, everybody had a lot of expectations from each of
Right.
my siblings, but not from me, because I was just an average student. So my father was like, "Oh, she is good at English. So maybe when I go to Europe, she'll work at a store as a receptionist, and I think she'll survive."
Right.
So, what did I catch? Now, I did not catch the entire sentence of my father. I from my childhood had one thing, only to take the positive. I only caught the thing, my English is good.
Right.
The rest went out of my head. I said,
Right.
"Oh, my English is good. So I can be the wife of a president." Right?
Uh-huh.
And then my entire focus was on developing my personality to be a wife of a president.
Uh-huh.
Started learning all the etiquettes, how to behave, how to sit, how to talk, voice modulations,
Mhm.
handshaking, how to shake hands. And yes, I had a big scrapbook where Bill Clinton, right? I have all the unique pictures of him stuck in it. And, I used to follow him like anything. Nobody attracted me so much as him. So I was like, so my father said, then I was discussing it with my friend. I said, you know what, I'm getting married to the president of the US. She said, but you're sick. She did not discourage me. She said, when people become president, they're already married because they're that old. Oh, yes, there's the catch. I said, now what do I do? So I said, okay, now I'm going to marry a person who's aspiring to be a president.
There
So
you
I,
go.
so I started studying about people who were aspiring to be presidents. I was researching on politics of USA. I was studying people and all that. And I don't know, that broadened my area of interest in people.
Right.
I developed interest in all the political leaders of the world. I developed interest in, all the cultures of the world because I thought I'm going to be the first lady. I have to visit so many countries.
That's right.
So I
Yeah.
should know about people. I should know what are the problems in the world. So, I was studying about these, you know, um, landmines in Kenya, Nigeria. I was following Princess Diana, where she's doing and going and what work is she doing. So, I don't know. But I believed one thing. Now, as I have grown up and it's been like 10 years since those 12 to 15 years, I realized never think that you're a fool if you're dreaming, because that's God's seed in your mind. Whatever He does in your life, it's leading you to a path. I never realized, thought that this, whatever I had knowledge I had garnered, I had acquired, is going to come in handy somewhere. You know, I never knew what am I grooming myself for. I never knew. Maybe I'm not married to the president at all today. Maybe I'm not even married as yet. So, but I now realize that I had my share of betrayals. Even I did fall in love, but then the person left me at the last moment when he came to know. I got my eye, artificial eye. My left eye is an artificial eye. I got it done in 2015. But even before that, with that bulged eye, I traveled to Mumbai, which is supposed to be, very, very glamorous city in India
Right.
because movies are made there.
Right.
And would you imagine, I lived there alone initially. And I started, I'm a classical dancer. And so I started performing, and I wore the best dresses, I did the best makeup, and men were attracted. And that, I sometimes used to sit in front of the mirror and think, I mean, what is there in me that people come to me and talk to me? I mean, my
Mhm.
eyes are bulging out, and like I'm not that beautiful. Why? So one day, my very best friend, he was a male, and he said, I asked him, I said, why do you think these boys look at me? Why do you think they come to me? He said, because they're attracted to you and not your eye. It's you they are interested in. They're not looking at your eye. So then in 2015, my brother, he got a good doctor, and I got my eye operated. I got it transplanted with an artificial eye because already I had lost my vision in the left eye.
Right.
And then that gave a boost to my confidence. I said, God, you took so long, but I'm ready. I'm ready to be the president's wife. So, so, and that actually gave me, I did not become, yes, one thing that I learned, I was always humble. I'm
Mhm.
still humble. You wouldn't believe, I'm full of gratitude each and every day of my life.
Right.
I tell God I was worthy of nothing. But as in the Bible it is written, if you're humble, God will exalt you. So that is what I followed because I studied in a convent. So Bible is also just like Gita. Both I keep Bhagavad Gita and Bible very close to my heart. And I just one line which remains with me is Proverbs 10 of Proverbs 46, which says, be still and know that I'm God.
Yeah.
It's like engraved in my mind because since my childhood, one thing that I kept very much staunchly to myself was reading my Bhagavad Gita and reading the Bible.
Right.
I never left it. And I always believed in God that let people say whatever they have to say. Let my father assume that I'm going to sit at the store. Let my mother say, oh, she'll become a teacher. That's
Mhm.
all. We'll get her married and it's over. So, but I did not ever feel bad. I did not even ridicule them. I did not even say, oh, you are not supposed to say that to me.
Right.
Because I felt, okay, they're practically thinking. This is the reality that they are touching upon. But my God knows my dream.
Yeah.
My God, the intuition within me, the divine within me knows what I'm made for. And He will bring it out one day. He will bring me to that position one day. So, I kept myself very humble.
Yes.
I never became angry at people. I never shouted at people. The biggest lesson I learned is three things: humble, tolerance, and, a deep faith in God, not even myself.
Right.
I have no confidence in myself. Even if I'm speaking to you, I feel it's God's words that are
Right.
coming out of my
Well,
mouth. So,
Shilpi, what I love about you though is you're such a great example of not letting your circumstances define you,
no, no,
not letting you you could have easily made a lot of excuses of I'm not
yes,
going to do this because of this, or this, somebody said this, so I'm not going to do this.
no,
And
never,
listening
no.
to you share that piece of your story, it's such a great reminder to me about how so many of us let one little thing destroy our dreams or our hopes or our faith. But if we continue to hold tight to who we are inside and what we believe, then anything is possible. And you've gone to achieve so many fantastic things and to be involved in so many unique things. And that's why I was so looking forward to have you on here. And I hate that I try to keep these conversations around 15 minutes because I'm like, I could talk to you for an hour. But as
Yeah,
we wrap
I
this
know, I
up,
can
I'd
understand.
love to know, there's when I have these conversations, I always like to leave people with one thing. And so as you're here today, and there's going to be people from all over the world listening or watching this conversation when it comes out, what is the one thing you hope they walk away with?
I would love them to understand that, believe in your God, because God is your root. Teach your children religion, whichever religion you are born in. Teach them that, because that is an anchor in life. That's the root. And never be affected by what people are saying. Do not get negativity into your head. I am telling you right now, my last thing would be, I've lost my one kidney. All right, I am with one kidney, but I'm so happy. I tell God, you took my one eye away, but I'm focused because I only have one eye, so I can only look at one object at one
Right.
time. So, and it's okay. You have given me one kidney to survive. So, I would only say, tell your children to believe in God more than you believe in your parents, also, because parents are human beings. They'll pass away one day. But what remains is your faith in God. Do not lose that faith in God before even you have confidence in yourself, in you. It's your faith in God. You might, become negative about yourself. Oh, I did something wrong. Oh, I did not do it correctly. Who decides failure? This is my last statement. Who decides failure? Us.
Right.
Nobody else does it. God has nowhere in his scriptures written a word like failure. No, he hasn't written that word anywhere. He
I
says, if
love
I'm
that.
with you, you are successful. You are my child. So that's it.
That is such a beautiful way to end this conversation. Well, Shilpi, I am so glad we are connected and I'm able to learn from you. And I was so thankful that we were able to make this conversation work today as well. So thank
Thank
you.
you
Even
so
with
much.
a 12 and a half hour time difference, we were able to make this work.
Yes, yes. And thank
And-
you so much for, this was something I wanted to tell each and every child in the world. And thank you. I think this God who listened to my prayer, because this is what I want to convey to the world.
Thank
Faith
you.
in God. That's it.
And thank you, everybody, for listening or watching another episode of Tell Your Story. Remember, you can check out all the past episodes on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, wherever you get your stuff, it's there. I hope today's conversation with Shilpi has encouraged you to get out there and tell your story because every story matters.